Welcome to another exciting, as always, episode of Gem Collectors with Shawn, and I am really just glad to be here. I'm glad that all of you are there as well, and that we're trying to keep it here. We're kind of on a run. We missed just only by one day last week, but other than that, I think we're weeks at a row here on getting this show to you back on track, which is really important to me. So I have a lot of good stuff coming up in the weeks to come, and we're going to be getting back to some gem and mineral specimens as well. And also, as the demolition progresses along, and then hopefully the refinishing of the house. And why that's important is because I have never seen, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, my house got flooded during the really cold snap after Christmas. So anyway, all of the things, the team comes in, these mitigators, and the way they wrap stuff, everything from the couch to the light. Well, I showed them how to wrap using bubble wrap real easily, smaller specimens, and they used that technique because you're able to reuse the bubble wrap. You know, you just line them up along the bubble wrap and just keep rolling it. When you have, I don't even want to say how many specimens, but it's a lot. So they did that, but then also I missed some of it, and they wrapped all this stuff up in one at a time. It doesn't make it very accessible to me, though, at this point, because a lot of it's just not where I thought it was. So we'll be getting to those items along the way. In the meantime, I am filling those gaps with some really interesting things that you're going to enjoy seeing today. Also, some interesting information. I have had Asif input, or whatever you call it, 2 pictures that are going to go along with today's show. Gone, thanks to Asif, in the old days when Shawn shows up his camera that was dropped in his trout pond 3 times. That's the truth. And I still kept it alive. Kept it going for years and years and years. I dropped it also on a 70-pound emerald crystal. The history in that camera, it was terrible to have to give it up. But give it up I did. And I think Asif was kind of tired of looking at the lack of professionalism in the pictures that we were showing, and all, of course, because I would just say, oh, look, here, my phone picture. And my phone screen, well, many of you have seen it. So that was my Christmas present, was a new, used, rebuilt phone, so much cheaper. And but better yet was to send the picture to Asif, have it, put it in the system, and then pull it up and show it to you all. You're going to be interested to see why. Okay, let me see if there's any short information I need to cover with all of you. No, let's get to the comments and then to the goods. And there is a trivia winner. That's a good thing too, right? And anything else? No, but just to give you an update for those of you in the north, spring has sprung here, and I gauge it by the weeds in my yard. Yeah, I'm behind. You know, you can tell the property line. My neighbor's yard, one of those. Luck, think about it, for me, of all people, I get, now, nice guy, he mowed my yard when it was COVID and everything, but you can tell right down the property line. Weedless, overweeded. And he probably doesn't like it because I think the prevailing winds blow the seeds from my yard to his yard. But I need to do some yard work, and hopefully things will work out to where I can health-wise. Yeah. The woods are alive and filled with the sound of pollen wafting through the trees. Yep. That's how we know when we're in the thick of it. First, I look at Dave, and if he is all snuffly and his face all, yeah, he's the go-to guy for pollen issues. Next thing, you just look on your car, and yeah, it's that chartreuse-colored pine pollen. It is out and about. Okay, so we start off first. Let's read the 2 trivia questions. The trivia questions are usually questions from the show or a show in the past. They don't always have to be from the show, but I make it easy so that the memory, your memory factor doesn't have to be taken into account, and because I now understand those that forget things from time to time. All right, so we had, to refresh everybody's memory, Barbara was the winner last week. She won that wonderful, wonderful pseudomorph piece. Now, that is important to remember about that pseudomorph piece because it's going to come into play right now. Well, in a moment from now. The first question was, name 3 iron oxides shown during the show. Now, I write down what I say in the questions because the exact wording of what I say becomes important and has tripped up people because a lot of the mind tends to want to answer what it thinks is the question, but until you disseminate each word, you don't always grasp exactly what the question is. And so, name 3 iron oxides shown, and then I add things like during the show, because like I said, shown, shown when, specific enough. So I write it down. All right, answer being, well, that one item that was the free item, which was the pseudomorph of, and you always say it in this manner, malachite after azurite. So whatever it is now, you say first, and it is malachite after azurite. That was one of them. So that was one of the pseudomorphs. And in that pseudomorph specimen alone, it had the rust-colored limonite as an iron oxide. It had the botryoidal goethite, which is an iron oxide, and it had also that shiny hematite, which is an iron oxide. So that, all of that was on that one cool specimen. That was a great specimen. The second question was name, and so listen carefully to how I asked this question. Name the 2 minerals involved in both pseudomorphs shown during the show. Okay, so name the 2 minerals involved in both pseudomorphs shown during the show. So one, of course, was the malachite after azurite. That was the one pseudomorph shown during the show. And the other was the goethite after the pyrite, crystals. So the pyrite crystals, dissolved away, and goethite filled in the cast that was left behind. And in the case of the malachite and azurite, same thing, except it can happen a little bit differently. It can be a partial pseudomorph. But so what I was looking for was name the 2 minerals involved in each of the pseudomorphs shown during the show. So basically there was a total of 4 minerals and 2 separate pseudomorph specimens. All right. I think there might have been some confusion there. We'll see how that, if that works out. All right, so we start off with Miss Elisa in Florida. Hello, Professor Shawn. Nope, that was last week. We start off again. False start. Cindy in Pennsylvania. Hello, Rock family. Wonderful show again, Shawn. You brought back some memories talking about moonshine. Now, let me interrupt. I guess I'm only interrupting myself, really, aren't I? But at home, anyway, for all of you, if you want to know something we talked about in a previous show, it's there. Just go and you can scroll down and see several past shows. Here's the other thing. I was actually messing around on the site where you access the show. You can either go straight to YouTube and punch in Gem Collectors with Shawn, but you're going to do much better if you go to the homepage of Gem Shopping, go down to the bottom where it says Learning Center, hit that tab, and it opens up, and then you'll get to see also, read through there, a link to watching this show, but also a link to the How It's Done series of shows that we produced from the bench, covering everything. Well, I was actually, I guess, cruising around or whatever it's called you're doing, and I didn't realize that when I saw 95 shows that there are, well, 95 shows that go back, way back, all kinds of other information, because in any of those shows, if there is an item that you see you like, write it down, because we can tell you if it's still even available. It might be available. It might be back, well, on our mantle. I was going to say, not quite so many other places with the house the way it is for the items to be, but it could be something that we just returned back to our stock, which our stock is a living, breathing, working stock. It's not stock that's put in a box. No, we put it back out and enjoy it. It's that just natural energy that Mother Nature puts out there all around you. And those who are in tune and are into this hobby will, you begin to feel it and appreciate it more and more. Like, I have no doubt that Miss Barbara or Miss Gabby and Anthony, Harry, Elisa, all those that are around their hobby, their jewelry, their specimens more, can feel that energy. And as you collect more and get more involved, it really gives back. You actually begin to feel it even more so. And that's just not a metaphysical kind of, line. It's there's a lot of truth to it, which I could talk about and name experiences that I have been shown. And remember, quartz has a long history of being proven to be one of the most amazing, simple minerals there is. SiO2, silicon dioxide, and the things quartz does is phenomenal. So you can go and see all those other shows if you want, and not only can you still get a chance of maybe finding something that's available that you like, but there is information in every one of those shows. There's a learning experience in every one of those shows. Go watch it again, because if you missed something from before or didn't retain the knowledge from before, how many of us do on the first go around? Well, you can get to hear it all over again, and it'll sound very refreshing. And going at it with already have seen information once, you think, oh yeah, I remember him saying that, but I totally forgot about that. And then this time around, maybe it'll sink in and it'll get retained. Very seldom do we ever retain everything that we hear all the time. So anyway, I was just enjoying and was glad to see all those shows and all that information still right there and available. And then I was reading the comments from the How It's Done series. Oh my goodness, if Asif ever wanted to hear a compliment on his directing, I didn't realize there's comments underneath some of those one shows that are, 50, 60, 70, 80 comments under just one of the 30 episodes we directed. And every single one was a positive, really thankful, grateful, best episode I've ever seen. This has been done so well that we can finally understand how to do this project. And many of the compliments were coming from people that were already seasoned goldsmiths. So, yes, I did the work, but it also took amazing directing to bring it and allow it to sound very not choppy, very smooth and professional. It was great. I actually hadn't stopped to read at any time all the comments underneath the shows. I just really actually didn't know that there were so many. And I'm glad I didn't sit there and see a bunch of thumbs down. I actually did not see one single thumbs down. That's kind of rare, because usually you get, I got to say this. One comment, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't really positive. But then I looked it up. It was from another guy that has several other videos that he made, and he was kind of not knocking the videography, but knocking some of my things. And I thought, now why is he doing? Well, that's because he was just jealous. We had a better show. We had a lot more views. That's all that matters. Okay, now, so Cindy, we'll get back to your moonshine. Last time I had apple pie and pumpkin spice at a friend's wedding. Yeah, it's neat the way they give these moonshines names. You had to be on the special guest list to have access to the moonshine. A friend sent me some of his special brew in the mail. My husband said that it was against the law to send through the mail. Who knew? Yeah, who knew? Well, if they can have a TV show about moonshiners, I always wonder, it's like, well, this is a TV show. How do they get away with this if it's illegal? And anyway, I think some of that's a little bit hokey, but real moonshine is still a real thing that is made in our real mountains. Probably up somewhere around Deliverance, where Deliverance was filmed, back in the hollers. Cindy says, how did you know? Iolite from Madagascar, yes. Shamrock pendant, yes. 14 karat gold, yes. Heart-shaped stones, yes. It will soon be around my neck. Happy. That's what she writes, and I know what she's referring to. Remember that very cool iolite pendant that in the shape of a shamrock? How perfect is that? And I'm glad to see that you are getting it. Trivia: hematite, goethite, limonite. Malachite replaced azurite, and goethite replaced pyrite. Right on. Everybody have a great week. See you next week. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Fave of the show, the iolite shamrock pendant. Of course it is. Good for you, Miss Cindy. I'm glad you, right item for the right person at the right time, right place. Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts. Hello all. No flame will be put to any zircons in my possession. Did you think I would ignore your warning? Oh, Captain, my captain. Also, I have rediscovered zircons, how interesting they are and how many I have. I love zircons, and they're very satisfying to facet because of the dispersion. And if you do it right, you get a nice return back. Then he goes on to say, I was tempted though. Remember, he was talking about the the thermochromic zircons, the ones that change with heat, and he was thinking about putting some heat to them. Not recommended, even though they're sold as being able to put heat to them. The whole thing about that is the amount of heat. You can easily surpass it in a split second, and it either won't change back in color or you will crack the stone. It's just not worth doing. But it was a way to sell zircons, and as a matter of fact, I have a feeling most of the Tanzanian zircons do that anyway. And it was a way to give zircons a new facelift, and by making them out to be something special. Again, I have a bunch of them, and I will put heat to them because I am that little boy. And I'm just going to see, because I noticed that so many times other places will develop a specific marketing name that makes it sound so much more of something than it is, like thermochromic zircons. Yeah, they're zircons. Don't put heat to them, because you'll regret it. There you go. Go on, y'all. I truly do enjoy hearing some good old Southern boys getting it on. I truly believe I should have been born in the South. Honestly, some of the more memorable and best times in my life have been on my many visits to Southern states, not to mention many other reasons why the South has a special place in my heart. Raven lived in Columbus, Ohio her entire life, literally. She has never, except maybe a couple years over in Pennsylvania, next door. And so that's what she was used to, was the Buckeyes, right? Football, whatnot, flat land. When I brought her down here to the South, it was for my, it was tough. She met my entire family because it was my son's commissioning as a second lieutenant and graduation from the military college in North Georgia. And so she not only met everyone, met my son, went to the commissioning, but she started her job here at Gem Shopping only 3 days after moving down here. It was overwhelming all at one time. And when I'm talking about starting a job, think about this. All she's ever been used to is just an enclosed type of environment, working in a flower shop, working in a jewelry store. And then all of a sudden, she is in this high-tech atmosphere where live television is going on. People are zipping around, everybody, doing their job. And she is in a studio where still to this day, the number of people that get to do anything like any of us get to do here and work in a studio is so small, so small. And but her takeaway after her first week's experience was, the South has the friendliest people I have ever met or known. And she still says that to this day, from the corner gas station where they let my truck sit over Christmas for days, just because that's where we get that gallon of milk. So many examples of Southern hospitality. There is a difference. There definitely is a difference. Miss Gabby says, a quick hello to my beloved GSN Rock family. Busy time of year for me, but didn't want anyone fretting about my well-being as we do others we haven't heard from in a while. I'm answering the trivia so I'm not called out, LOL, but withdrawing from entering. Goethite after pyrite and malachite after azurite, then pyrite, limonite, and goethite for the oxides. Well done. Question, have you had or seen green spinel? I have heard they didn't exist naturally, but if I know Mama Nature, if you have addressed this in the past, my apologies for not remembering, but I know most of us understand that, LOL. Love and hugs to all. Miss Gabby. Okay, let's show her green spinels. Green spinels. Yes, it is indeed a rare creature. All right, so what I found, which anyone could find these, this is the closest thing I actually found, and they say certified natural, and in looking deeper into the description on these, it actually said that these were EGL certified. Now, out of the different grading lab houses, EGL was one of the ones that, you know, it wasn't the most respectful, but it also wasn't the least. And it said that they were natural. But I am one that tends to question exactly what the meaning of the word natural is. So I didn't get to actually see any more of the cert but than what they wrote. And with the perfect match to those stones in color and in clarity, natural, yes, they may have been naturally grown, they may have been naturally mined, but are they natural color? Are they, I don't know. I have never seen green zircon to look that green, because when I think of green, I think of something green enough that there's no secondary, like not a greenish blue or anything like that. Because now, in the zircon world, there is a lot of greenish blue stones and bluish green zircons. I've sold them, I've had them. There's also a zircon that's a really light green. There's also a light yellow green. And that one had been questioned to its authenticity, sent to GIA, and GIA did a study of that particular one and put it through several tests, and it turned out to be natural, but it was nowhere near that color green. Fluorescence. You may, if you have a green spinel, check it for fluorescence, long and short wave. It will, if it is synthetic, it'll fluoresce, most likely. And synthetic spinel was one of the first early, it's a just simple magnesium aluminum oxide, one of the simple early gemstones that was synthesized, and then hence you found synthesized spinel in class rings, in inexpensive engagement rings, in jewelry, all over. I mean, starting decades and decades ago. Synthetic sapphires have been around, 100 years, plus years. So synthesizing has gone back a long time. Now, so the textbooks claim that green is a color in and listed in the spinel list of colors that it can come in. But it never, of course, says exactly to what extent green. So I went to the source, which is what does the specimens show for something that would be called a green spinel. And they pull up a lot of wonderful specimens from Italy. And wow, it actually made me want to have one of those specimens. But they were so saturated and such a dark green that they would be, I'm trying to kind of think of a comparison color, really a deep saturated greenish sapphire maybe, I don't know. But they were so saturated in color that light didn't really pass through unless you really backlit the items. But along the smaller crystals and along the edges, you could actually see a green color tone. But it wasn't going to be one of the greens like you just saw, or Kelly green, or just, a dynamic green. And so, yes, to that extent, green spinel natural green spinel does exist in nature, but I have never personally seen one like the picture that we pulled up for you and showed you that listed those as certified natural EGL certification. A lot of times these reports, now not necessarily GIA, but it will have a notation after natural. So it will be natural and then be notated, stone was determined to be color diffused, you know, this kind of thing. So yeah, it's a natural spinel to start with before they messed with it. And so, but without having the whole cert, I'm not sure if there was additional notation that was provided with it. When I see, again, that many, calibrated in size, perfectly even tone in color, I seriously doubt that that was oh, and then the price, the lot of them, 12 something carats, that really was the giveaway, because you could get the entire parcel for less than $100. That says it all. So that's what I know about green spinels, and unless it had a very well recognized cert, I would stay away from any of that kind of messing with trying to get a green one. But it would be nice to have one. That would be really, really, really cool. Okay, great question. And it's one of those questions that always makes you research what you may or may not have already known. And nothing wrong with that. That's schooling. That's going to get me into 7th grade. Miss Elisa in Florida says, hello, Professor Shawn, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock family. Shawn, I hate to hear that your home is still a construction zone, but hopefully they will finish the work and you can look back and say, wow, I never want to do that again. Haha, jokes aside, I hope they finish quickly. Yes, we do too. My answer to this week's questions are correct and correct. I'm excited for this week because on Thursday, my parents will be flying here for a 10-day visit, and we haven't seen each other since November of 2019. It's been way too long. Take care, everyone, and have a good week. That's so neat that you shared that with us, Miss Elisa. That's what family is for. And I am glad to see that you are so excited to have them there. And is that maybe the first time since you've been to Florida? I don't know how long you have since, I think you moved, didn't you? But how fun is that? Florida, wow, has been through a lot. Hurricanes and whatnot. And I could see the pandemic, why you might have put it off, but that has been completely long enough. And from an orphan such as myself now, believe me, visit and see them as often as possible. So enjoy your visit with them, every bit of it. Miss Kathleen says, good afternoon all. I hope you all had a wonderful week. Good luck with the house renovation. I am hoping it will go smoothly for you from now on. Congrats, Barbara, on your win. I do have a bit of envy. Remember she got the pseudomorph, the malachite after azurite. Wishing everyone to have a great week ahead. Trivia question 1, name 3 iron oxides. You got them all right. Limonite, goethite, hematite. 2, name the 2 materials involved in both pseudomorphs during the show. So she has goethite replaces pyrite on both examples. So I think probably a little misunderstanding there on that, but also maybe a little just kind of forgetting for a moment that that incredible malachite specimen was a pseudomorph in its own right. But the real actually unusual pieces were those fun goethites after pyrite, because they're inexpensive and they looked exactly like what a pyrite crystal would look like, but yet you can tell, people that love pyrite, that they look nothing like a pyrite from the actual color. And one's an oxide and the other is a sulfide. Big difference there. So, yeah, almost both right. Well done, nevertheless. Harry in Massachusetts. Well, hey there, Professor and the lovely Miss Raven. Great to see you, and it was really nice to see you do your southern accent. How different. Well, if you won't stick up for it, I will for you. It ain't evolution, it's creation. Hence, the woodpecker closes his eyes just at the moment of striking the wood. The force is so great, its eyeballs would shoot out its sockets. So were there woodpeckers flying around blind during evolution? Or can you agree this bird was made just once with all its reflexes intact all at once? I could go on about a bunch more animals. Hey, I remember that TV show with the bubbling crude. LOL, love it. And come on, you know where them apples went. Yeah, your land must abut the woods for the big ape to get them apples. A big squatch? It could. Big squatch might be smart enough to bring my ladder over to it and climb up there and not disturb a branch. Of all places. Didn't have a, it would have been neat, really, to have put one of my critter cams, my trail cameras, on, and I think I will again if I have a good apple crop on it. I think I will. I think if that happens again, I'm going to have to know what and who, what creature stole all my apples. We are expecting, I couldn't believe it, in, let's see, beginning of next week, I think, temperatures down below freezing. And my peach tree is in beautiful full bloom. And the thing about it is, it bloomed so early that the pollinators aren't even out. And now it is going to get smacked down. And I think about the peach farmers or any of these orchards that depend on it for a living, because all it takes is one late frost or freeze, and that's their entire livelihood for the season. And I can now really empathize for that loss and how it must feel to see your income for a year wiped out in one difference in the temperature. And yeah, so goodness. And yeah, it is amazing though, the different animals in nature, how you wonder how they got to the place that they're at. I know there's this one beetle, and it's the only one I'm going to talk about, but it's amazing. It has two very noxious chemicals, but they're only noxious when they are put together. So in all this little tiny beetle, in these little tiny sac compartments are these two chemicals. And at the point of defending itself, it jets them out. The two chemicals come together and form this extremely toxic chemical that then banishes the bad guy away. Well, how does it ever get to that point? First, in making the two chemicals, and then the process of how it doesn't harm itself with them, and how it knows the body creates this entire mechanism. And how, what does it do to get there? How does it figure it out? That's why some things just can't be explained through evolution. But then there is a lot that can. So leave it to people far smarter than I. Woohoo! Well, going back to playing Kick the Can. Everybody stay groovy. Love y'all bunches and oodles. We love you back, Harry. Kick the Can. That was a great episode on Twilight Zone as well. Then Harry says, I've been cutting so much stuff, my dang fingertips are like a bunch of toothaches. Wow. You know, I was 17 while I worked at a jewelry store in Sarasota. And also, besides working at the jewelry store, I had a night job where right next to the jewelry store in downtown Sarasota was a bank building. So I went and I helped clean the bank. And, you know, when you're young, you can just work. So I worked 8 hours a day, 4 hours at the jewelry store. And this was an in-school work program where I got out and went to the job. Then I worked 4 more hours cleaning the bank at night. And it was a real experience, because when to work at the bank, I had to get a background check done. Now I'm 17, so this is 1978. So I had to, for the first time, I had to be fingerprinted. And remember, I'm 17. This is at a period of my life where I am cutting a lot of stones, even though I'm working at, you know, for money, but I'm cutting a lot of stones. I'm doing a lot of work. And most of the end of my primary fingertips were actually sanded off, because when you're cutting a stone and sanding, you use your finger a lot of times to, you know, run water across the wheel. It's always in contact with a grinding wheel in so many situations. They actually said to me in an accusatory way, the police, as they were trying to get my fingerprints, have you intentionally tried to grind your fingerprints off? And I said no, and I told them what I did. I told them where they could go and find out that that's what I really did, because that's what happens. But of course, the fingerprints do grow back. But I hadn't thought of that until you mentioned about how worn your fingers are. So if my fingers do look kind of rough at times, that's because I am still a working goldsmith and lapidary. Miss Penny and her growing up son, Mahalis from Quebec, says, hello, Shawn, Raven, amazing GSN crew, and fellow rockhounds. I hope everyone is well. Trivia, well, let's just say Miss Penny got them all right. I had a huge laugh when you said boys will be boys. Just an FYI. Quite a few girls are the same as well. Not that I would know anything about that. Somehow, Miss Penny, I think that you would just be like one of the boys at the time. So, Mahali's favorite nuts are pistachios, and he has been eating them since he got his teeth. When Mahalis was 4 years old, he stuck a pistachio up his nose. Oh, this ought to be good. I'll continue on. When I asked him why he did that, he said, Mama, I did it to show you that I could. Wow. Well, hey, I mean, that's why someone climbed Mount Everest, right? Because it was there. Makes sense to me, right, Mom? I couldn't get it out. Neither could the ER doctor. Wow. That is getting a pistachio up your nose. So he had to be put under general anesthesia to have it removed in 3 pieces. Oh my word. Fortunately, it was shelled, so the turbinates and any other parts of the nasal cavity were not torn. We laugh about it now, 8 years later, but it wasn't funny then. I have been using that as a reminder and a teaching experience that you never put anything up your nose, no matter how old you are or what it is. Well, there's a lesson to be learned there, isn't there? That's a riot, to show you that he could. Very cute. I did manage to get the multi-gemstone quartz bracelet. That was a no-brainer. Missed the turquoise one, but did get the turquoise ring. I got the amber cross, the set of eggs, and the goethite pyrite parcel. This is definitely the last purchase for a while, because I'm hoping to go to Greece this summer, so spending money will be needed. Yes, it will be. Stay off that train. I feel terrible for everyone. And then, that happened in Greece with a train accident, and then, United States has had all of its issues with train incidences. My. So that's it for now. March break is almost done, so I'll check in when I can after this. We wish everybody a wonderful week, and see you next week. Miss Penny, good to hear from you, Miss Penny. I am glad and hope you do get to Greece. And remember, now that you know so much more about rocks and minerals, keep your eyes to the ground, as Anthony says. You might never know what you might find. We have next, it is Charles. Ciao, Professor Shawn, GSN crew, and Rock family. What a great show this week. I want all the things. My lapidary shop continues to grow. For my birthday, I purchased a miniature diamond bandsaw. They are really neat because you can cut curved shapes. It will allow for cutting cabochones with much less waste than a standard straight cutting trim saw. I picked it up near the area of the mine in Oregon that produced the lesser known but beautiful Trent agate. That is a wonderful find. Those bandsaws are really, really useful. Wishing the whole Rock family a wonderful week. With love, Charles. Question 1, goethite, limonite, hematite. Question 2, goethite, limonite. So maybe a little confusion on the pseudomorph, but in question 2, if you were going to be a little confused, it would have been, you would have had to put limonite, pyrite, or, goethite, pyrite, because it was the goethite replacing the limonite. But in general, overall, what we were looking for was that second pseudomorph, which was the malachite after azurite. But one out of 2 ain't bad. Sorry, I apparently can't spell tonight. Getting sleepy. And so then he spells goethite the right way. Best wishes, Charles. We never deduct for spelling, and, mineral specimens are very, they're almost like the names they give all these stupid new drugs. You can't even pronounce them, let alone spell them. Well, many mineral specimens, though they're not stupid, do have names, often named after humans and whatnot, that can be quite tricky. And I have to look up the spelling of things. And not only that, the pronunciation as well, quite often. So, okay, so I think that covers it. And with all the right answers put in the hat, let me see who that lucky winner is going to be, because I already had notated that. And just want to make sure and verify it. Yep, that's who the winner is. I just have to put on this piece of paper. I'm talking to myself. Do it all the time. All right, congratulations. Harry, you are the winner. And this may bring some trivia envy. If nothing else, it's going to be very functional. Let's show what you got. All right, look, okay, one of these amazing vases with the mottled serpentine. Look at the detail in this piece, like the others, but this, look at this, this has 3 different places, and it will actually hold water. It is actually functional. But, Harry, I'm giving you something broken. Yeah. What a great gift giver I am. All right, look at this. As we look right here, you can see that that is coming up off of that part of the base. Well, instead of me repairing it and then selling it as a repaired item, I thought, well, I will give that away, but I will give it away with something that will fix it as well. If any of you want one of the coolest type of mechanism for adhesive and gluing items. This is it. All right, so let me just show everybody, because I highly recommend everyone get one of these. So you can see the hypodermic size type of opening that is, and here's where you squeeze and the glue comes out here. You can see it trying to right there. But that glue will not harden up until, look at this, yeah, fluorescent light. It's a UV light. Boom. Until you shine ultraviolet light on it. When you shine ultraviolet light on it, it will, it takes only a few seconds, but it causes it to solidify and harden up, and it works amazingly well. Now, for something like if you're doing gemstones on a dop, I personally like something that's going to be stronger than this, but for a quick fix, you could probably try it. I may try it just to see if it can take some of the stress from that faceting does. I know it wouldn't probably for cabochoning because there's a lot more force involved. But this type of apparatus and glue for working on things that you have to hold in place, and then while you're holding it in place, you know, things never set up, even the 1 minute or 5 minute epoxies. This, with only a few seconds of light on whatever it is that you're trying to get to stick to something, it will then harden it up, and not until. It is really, really functional. But better yet, this comes off. You can always get more of that. This works perfectly to use for a long wave ultraviolet light for testing fluorescence on mineral specimens. Yeah, it doesn't go all the way down to like 365 nm, but it's certainly in the ultraviolet range. And look at that ruby glow. So it works great for testing for long wave fluorescent mineral specimens. So you get the broken gift and the very cool tool to repair it. Congratulations to you. All right, let me tuck this away and the other items, and we'll be right back with the start of the show. Okay, now this is a resurrected treasure. Let's just say this. And Miss Gabby may remember it from 4 years ago. So this specimen I had sold Miss Gabby, and at a lot more than what I'm going to be asking for this today, and it had a issue with one of the inclusions across it, and it came apart. So I said no. She was going to keep it. I said no, send that back if I have anything else, which I didn't. So all these years, what I did with it was I fixed it and went back and enjoyed it for 4 more years. And that's what I said. It's like, we love these items as much as all of you. And so Raven is always happy when something comes back from this end back to the house to stay. And so we had 4 more good years. Now, let me show you. This is a stunning tricolor Afghani tourmaline specimen. Look at the size of this, okay? It's wonderful, tricolor. Now, here is many, many cool things about it. Look at these very well-formed calcite crystals. And you see this on the surface of the calcites. With a little bit of cleverness and probably experimenting a little bit, you can remove a lot of this surface material. If I did it, I would have had to keep it for myself. then what these, when you see feldspar that is bladed in crystals like this, most likely it is going to be the variety of feldspar called Clevelandite. Clevelandite. All right, so first we've got these really nice scalenahedrons, dog-tooth calcites. Now, as we come in and you see these cream-colored little crystals on top of the white Clevelandite, look at those. These are, most of them are twinned, in other words, terminated at both ends. These are additional calcite crystals hanging around here. And I could use that black light that I just showed you, and these all glow beautiful orange. These calcite crystals are a stunning, bright, wonderful orange glow to them. So really nice, strong fluorescence. Now, if I didn't really show you, it'd be difficult to know whether it was this spot or that spot or that spot where the break was in the piece, but it was right along here. Yeah, right along there. But it doesn't look too much different. And if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know if it was part of the specimen or just another natural inclusion, or whether it had that break. But of course, Dave is trying to go over and point wrong, but close enough. Look at these really neat other crystals of calcites. All these little other crystals tucked in here. And if you go in that dark closet and light this guy up, you'll be able to find every one of these little calcites like that in here. Now, let me show you. Oh, look at the green coming out there. Right, so if it's shoral tourmaline, the value is one value. But if it is tourmaline that has other colors or even just green, well, then you're looking at something much more valuable. Let's look and see what kind of colors this have. Let's look at this termination. So we have a classic, nice, flat termination right there. We have, let's just backlight this a little bit to show you. You can see some wonderful greens. Then you have acroite, it looks like, which is the cap, or clear. Maybe not so clear. A wonderful light blue. It looks like it might be showing. How pretty is that? Now, let's keep looking around this piece. Then we'll bring it right over here. And then look at this end. Look at that cap. A wonderful, wonderful blue cap with another green layer, and then below it an even darker saturated green. A lovely specimen overall. Thank you, sir. That with a little time, you could really bring it up even nicer in finishing some of these other areas. It also displays in many, look at that, that's just at that angle, that is a beautiful display angle for the piece. But you can pick many different display angles, which you can see. Now, I kind of like, which one? There it is. I kind of like that 45-degree display angle right there. Even using the mirror, which, you know, when I can convert my cabinets that I do, I like to have the mirrors because then it allows you to see another angle to the specimen, as you can see in that piece. Here we go. Fluorescent calcite, Clevelandite, tricolor Afghani, tourmaline, fluorescent material, beautiful, beautiful piece overall. And Miss Gabby can have it again at a fraction of their original price. And here's the difference. It's right now it's only $88. $88. It was over 3 times that amount. But the difference between a repaired piece and a non-repaired piece in value can be often very considerable. And why it is so important that it is represented to be for that reason. There has been many specimens that I have been offered that are repaired specimens and it's not disclosed. Let me tell you, one of the best things to ever carry in your pocket, and you could use it for multiple multiple uses, because as you travel, you never know when you might need glue. So to use that glue set that I just showcased works great, and it also works great for when you need that emergency ultraviolet light. Because, and let me just show you one more time, I'm just showing you how I got this, so you can maybe find, I really found the product to be very effective. And the very cool box, and it had very good instructions, and look at that, it really protects something. Like it's I have a spectrometer and other tools and equipment that aren't packed as nicely as this is for protecting it. So highly recommend that. I carry one of those around. Of course I would, right? I'm surprised it's not in my top pocket. And the way that comes apart, it works out great. So with that ultraviolet light, why I say that? Because almost all epoxies and adhesives fluoresce. So you can easily find the fluorescent repairs in specimens, especially like one like that, where the material would come to the edge. Now I tried to do it so that it wouldn't, but oftentimes having the adhesive come to the edge acts as a fill. And then if you go back in and clean it up after it hardens, it's a great way to be able to do it and then really disguise it. But when it's the adhesive comes to the outer edge of the crystal, it then exposes itself to be discovered by the use of fluorescent light. So there you have it. There is another reason to have certain tools in your pocket, and a fluorescent light is certainly one of them. If you're somewhere where you're going to be purchasing crystal specimens where you don't think that the truth is always told. Beautiful piece right there. Let's look at another really neat item. This is 1106-623. 1106-623. Now, again, I have still, of course, a lot of other jewelry items, and I'm still going to be bringing you in some estate pieces, but I thought maybe it was time that I showed you a few rock and mineral specimens. So many of you, I think, have been missing out on these. So you're going to get to see some small but mighty items that may not be a lot of money, but items that you haven't seen anything like before. And this is one of them, because if I show it to you this way, yeah, that looks familiar, doesn't it? Cavinsite, one of my most favorite names for a mineral specimen, because you know how much I like the name of a mineral to impart some type of information about the specimen itself. Cavinsite, the way it's spelled, is probably one of the best, because it stands for calcium, vanadium, and silicon, the 3 primary ingredients that form its makeup. Cavinsite, of course, is the blue material. Stilbite, that is one you're well familiar with. You've seen huge stilbites in the larger zeolite specimens that I've offered. And then there is the micro size still bites like in this specimen. The neatest thing about this piece I haven't shown you yet. And that's the other side, because seldom would you ever have a cavensite specimen and do this to it intentionally to see what it looks like. But when it happens by nature or by accident, what a great look. Look at that. Look at that. So I think this was a natural type of split that separated the specimen, but you get to see exactly how it forms. And you can see that it grows radially from the center out. And this one even looks like it started to have some stillbite crystals that were growing and forming in the new break. Can we look at this a little closer? There we go, perfect. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So, look at those colors. And then here's all the little stillbites that we're not used to seeing so small. I think that that is a great cross section, kind of looking at like a wave, take Wavelite for example. It looks beautiful as it is, but the cross section of Wavelite I think sometimes is even prettier than Wavelite itself. And what a unique, rare cross section that is in that. All right, and here's the fun thing about items like that, and why, to me, so many times it's like, I won't come run across another. I'll just keep it for only that much money, $12. Right, so you see what I mean? For only $12, why wouldn't I just want to keep that? Because I don't have another specimen and won't have of a big cavensite cluster it takes, and then have it split like that. So sharing that with whoever is the lucky person to get it is exactly that, sharing that. Because out of all the cavensites, I just have never come across one that was already intentionally or unintentionally even split like that. And for that amount of money, it's just a really nice collector's piece. Now, this next item, I wished I would have shown it, I guess, in the last show. But remember, I told you I really don't know where items sometimes have been or are, and I come across them as I can. And this is a perfect one for this time of year. This is item number 1106-923. 1106-923. And wow, how perfect of a gift, or for someone else, or for an Irish person, or for yourself. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. British Columbian nephrite jade on a sterling silver chain, shamrock, a 4-leaf clover. You can't go wrong with that. And of course, it might be just a little late for St. Paddy's Day, but nevertheless, it can be yours still for all the future ones. And let me show you. This was done with a really nice quality piece of nephrite. Look at that. Look at how clean that is. Great job there. Look at how clean that is. Thank you, sir. So, a wonderful polish, 16-inch sterling silver chain, and not going to be another one. This is one I kind of didn't even realize I had. I think I kept it probably for myself, being Irish and all. And then there's the story of jade. And what I liked, right down here, it says about the jade, And Dave's going to make it difficult for me to read it unless he held my eyes out there, Dave. There we go. The gem grade jade you now open is made from an exciting new discovery in the frozen polar mountains near Alaska. And it even tells you where it comes from. Now, when they say near Alaska, that means, yeah, it means British Columbia. So they are actually making it easier for people that are geographically challenged to understand exactly where it comes from. A lot of people, if you say British Columbia, they're thinking either down in South America in Colombia or somewhere up in England, in the Colombian mountains in Britain. You know, not knocking those people, but that it certainly happens. So when you say Alaska, people pretty much know where that is. And there, of course, is Alaskan nephrite jade, very similar, but not of the high as qualities that are being found and have been being found. Now remember, this is mined by my very close and good friends for so many years that I really want to make it up there at some point in my life, that they have the some amazing claims that I've told you stories over the years regarding them, of like how they have to fill back in what they dig out every season, because there are jade claim jumpers, just like there's gold fever, there's jade fever, and they will literally, even though the boulders can weigh tons, manage a way to make off with one. All you need to do is make off with one high quality boulder and you're set. But it's no easy thing to do. So what they do is they fill back in the entire season's pit that they've dug out. And they have to do what you have to do. This neat box, and again, nice opportunity at a perfect time of year. Price on this guy, it is such a deal. Only have the one, $54. Only $54. All right, I'm going to tuck a couple things away here and get organized. I'll be right back. Okay, I have been holding out on everybody. This has come straight from our personal collection of knives, and kind of getting this one under the radar because Raven is in the building, but she's not in our studio at the moment. And I found this knife hidden in her daughter Summer's room. I was just thinking maybe the Summer watch. No, I think I'm safe. And she does that to me. She'll stash things and think, well, I know for certain that I never gave a knife like this to Summer. So I don't know. It's this cutesy little way she has about her that is kind of I don't know. I better be careful with my words. But I appreciate it later, but I probably wouldn't appreciate it at the moment that she put it up. But to find it later that she had this stashed away, that's really cool. But in her mind, it's only really cool if you get to keep it and hang on to it. But in my case, I need more money. I got the moles I need to cut off. So I found this. We were just talking about rhodonite. We were just talking about gemstone knives. This is your real gemstone knife. You're talking about fine, high-end Canadian rhodonite, which is a beautiful manganese silicate with manganese oxide, the darker material, and one second here. And then, of course, this was done by my longtime friends, husband and wife team. Beautiful American artistry. And so it has right there the initials for KJ. And his wife does the hafting. The hafting is the art of attaching the blade to the handle. Now, the blade is notched, the handle is notched. So it's not like they're just butted up flat against flat, no. So they're both notched in together, and then they're, epoxied, and then the hafting is done. And she'll dye this material to match, and which she has done. So with the hafting done like this, you have every bit of this is a gemstone knife. Look at this blade. This is incredible. Davis Creek, California, rainbow obsidian. Look at the blue. Look at the green in this material. And there is more colors when you catch the light right in the right place. And when you turn it around in different directions as well. Look at that. Look at that. Look at those colors. And this is sharp. This will do exactly what a knife's supposed to do, and that is to cut something or to stab something. It'll do it. Now you can see the arc in the rainbow here. Wow, to have that much blue. Let's look at this other side. Oh my! We were trying to do this earlier, and I didn't have this angle. I didn't find nearly as an attractive rainbow until right this moment. Look at that. Look at that rainbow, and look at the colors. Wow. Wow. And like I said, as you turn it in different angles, look at how that changes. How you can bring out the purples or the other greens. And then I always flip it. Look at that. Look at the colors in that. So obsidian is done differently than flint when you are hand knapping these blades. Okay, so they're hand knapped. Now, knapping is the art of flaking away material. Now, flint knapping, because flint is such a hard material like a quartz or an agate, more appropriately a cryptocrystalline quartz like an agate, which you can actually strike with another piece of flint to break off pieces until you can get your sharp blades. Well, when it comes to obsidian, one hit and it breaks like glass. It would just shatter. So what you do, it's pressure flaking. Look at that banding in there. So he takes a thicker piece of metal nail, like a thick nail, and it's polished, and he'll press down on it, and he literally flakes off a flake at a time, and until you can see. So he'll flake a layer here, then he'll come down and flake off a couple layers here, so he gets it thinner towards the edge. So by pressure flaking, you have a lot more control over the piece without taking a chance of damaging it. Wow, look at the beautiful colors in this. And so many things can go wrong. So many things can go wrong in this process. One mistake and all your previous work is shot. And yeah, you just have to start over. I have sold these gemstone knives, I was mentioning earlier, for over $7,000 and $8,000. They had beautiful Queensland boulder opal with incredible fire in the handles, and the blades would be the green Teotihuacan, incredible Mexican green obsidian. Look all the colors in this, and were tremendous. Well, this is one of the rare rhodonite ones, and so now I know why, because this is Canadian rhodonite, why the Raven decided to squirrel that one away. And now a lot of people don't fully understand all the nuances there is to rhodonite and how varied some of its chemical formula can actually be. So rhodonite, as far as its composition, is has a good hardness of 5 to 6, and you also have facet grade rhodonite that comes from like the Padre Pariso mine in Brazil. But the rhodonite that is the ornamental rhodonite, some of the most beautiful, is from Canada. And this is an exceptional piece. It's got a nice length to it. Look at that. And can be displayed in so many forms. I was going to include this stand, but I think you'll come up with something better than that. I'm looking at this angle right here, and I actually see some pink right in here. So keep that in mind. Oh, I might have just caught a little bit of it when I just was passing by in that direction, because there is, remember the pink lady obsidian that we had knives made from before, and they would have an incredible pink sheen across them. So yes, pink can absolutely be one of the colors involved. Now, the price I'm going to put on this knife, I will never make it less than, because anything less than what I'm going to offer it for, and again, I'd rather let it go back home and sit around and be enjoyed. I guess it's been being enjoyed from another room, because I would have offered this sooner. But this is what makes her, when she does this, makes it kind of neat, because it gives me something really cool to offer all of you that I didn't know I had anymore. And so, and I would have showcased it long ago. And by her doing that, it's like a amazing work of art coming from out of nowhere. And so I can't get too upset at her. I am looking at it. So when you get home, I was looking at the angle of the light. There is some beautiful, beautiful pink right in there. So remember what side it is. Picture this as a cabochon. So from a piece of rough, Kelly has to completely cut this, grind it, shape it, and polish it before he even begins this part. The labor that is involved is tremendous. I talked to him about that once, and he said he didn't even want to figure how little he actually made per hour doing it. So you do it, you love it for the craft, for the trade, for the art. You do it for that love that you have within you, and which is so many times the case when it comes to the starving artist. You know, we never actually get what our time and labor that we put into it is worth, but the artisan gets the self-satisfaction of creating something wonderful and beautiful that someone else wants, and to make it meaningful in their collection as well. I was looking at so many different angles. There's so many other colors. I'm just going to give you the price on this one, and wow, let me see. We'll let you look at it this way for a little bit. What a work of art. Price on this, bottom dollar on it, is only $288. This knife, it would have been easily $200 more than that a number of years ago. I mean, prior to this, the podcast show. So for only $288, think about it. Could you even get a piece of rhodonite that has been hand fashioned into a knife handle for that, considering the time it would take. Or just the blade, I don't know of anybody that would or could do that, not American labor. And that's the difference. That's the difference. And that's why you see it was worth putting all that description and information in the graphics for you to see that it is American artistry. This is American artists, husband and wife team. It hasn't been sent over and created in a place where the labor is discounted to minimal amounts, or where it's mass produced, those kind of things. This is one of a kind, one at a time, and I am not sure if they are even currently creating new knives. I was the one at the time that supplied them most of their business and encouraged them to do so at the time. And I need to see him again. This is an object of art, forever to be treasured. It becomes an heirloom. So all the information I just gave you, you need to make sure you hang on to it so that you can pass that information down. Okay, I could go on about that, but I've got a lot more to do and the clock is ticking. 11:06, 423. Now what I am getting ready to show you next are, again, these, I only have the one, or I guess, well, I have just these. There's not going to be another set. In this parcel, there are two pair of, look at how small these are. These are the coolest little, this one, what we would refer to as a tractor ammonite. And look at, that is the ammonite. Ammonite being the gemstone that forms from the shell material being compressed and chemically converted over to aragonite. It is the layers of aragonite that light passes through that gives us this reflection and iridescence that you see on ammonites, with the world famous ones, of course, being mined in Canada. Look at that. And then split open, you can see these would have been open chambers, and the little tentacles would have come out of here, and it is belongs to the cephalopods, same family as squid, octopus, nautilus. Look at that. So that's the one. Now, I don't know the scientific name of, we call them tractor ammonites, of course, because of the way they're ridged like that. Now, this is the Cleonoceras. That's the actual variety type of ammonite this is. It was, at the time before their extinction, just thousands of different species of these. And again, look at this in the septarian part, where you have the incredible dendritic design. And then look at on this small, but it has everything you would want. Look at the beautiful gemstone, ammonite. It's one of the few organic gemstones there is. They added it, 50 years ago or so, and included it as an organic gemstone along with pearl and coral. And then when sawn in half and polished, there's the inside. And many times if the calcite doesn't fill in, you get these open areas in those chambers that'll have the crystals in it. So, two matching polished pairs, the only set I'm gonna have, and for them I am asking only $12 for both. Only $12 for both. That's yeah, So just a fun item, a fun deal. Oh, let me just show you something. There's no item number to this or anything. This is just for informational purpose. Since I talked to all of you about how pieces of jewelry can become scrap, and you probably, if you ever wondered what a bag of scrap gold looks like, well, some of those parcels of gemstones you've been seeing and possibly purchasing might have come right from this bag of scrap. So I'm showing you gold in the form of jewelry that has seen its better day. So let me just show you. So I have to take out like this. Taking the stones out of something is quite a bit of work. This had smaller stones. There is a lot that goes down to breaking down an item. And if we could just look at this one, this gives you a good idea. All right, so I have to pull back all these outer sides. This is the one that had the trapezoidal garnets on the outside, and then you actually have little diamonds in the middle. Now those are so hard to get out that I probably won't even take the time to do it. And like rope chains, this chain is a perfectly good rope chain, but if no one buys it, it's not perfectly good. There's still some amethyst here that I didn't notice, but I probably will pull those out. But that's what becomes of jewelry when you no longer have a use, or it's worn out, or it's out of date, or out of style or design, or let's say you want to take the gold and make something else from it. Well, you remove all the stones and it becomes scrap gold to start the process of recycling it all over. And I do that as well. I actually, we haven't shown or created any shows for that, but I actually have everything it takes to refine and take 14 karat gold and purify it to 24 karat. Now, what I'm going to show you, let me show you this. I have to show you this. Okay, now, this next item was an item that we were kind of laughing about before the show. Asif, well, neither one of the guys had seen anything like it. 1106-223. 1106-223. This specimen was one of the very earliest and first specimens I had ever bought. And it is a beloved treasure. I bought it in 1974 at the Rock Shop in Sarasota, Florida. It is one of the rarest now for what it is. And let me just show you. It is Salamalane. Salamalane. And this was me with my little sticker machine, a little printout thing, creating that. Salamalane, 1974. And in one of these perky boxes. It has stayed there ever since. Now this has been hot glued down, which, you know, it can be removed if you desire it, but you certainly didn't want it to be able to, you know, drop off, because let me show you what we're talking about. Look at these crystals. As Dave takes us in, well, yep, we'll show you this. Let me show you, and then I'll explain the piece. All right, this picture, as you can see, very, very similar to one another. Now, as I talk about the picture, I pulled this off of Mindat, which I think I've told all of you is a great, great informational source. The key to that picture you're seeing is not only the size, only 1 inch by 3 inches. Well, the one I'm getting ready to show you roughly probably has about the same size. Then, the important part, at the bottom of that picture, it says Mindat Photo of the Day, May 2013. So that specimen you're seeing in that picture is from the exact same place that the one I have is from, and this is what, almost, how long ago was that? 48 years ago. 48 years ago. Those little acicular needles, yes, if you touch them, they would fall. Well, wouldn't fall apart. You'd smush them. You would just smush them. Now, you may have heard of this before because of the Crown of Silver mine in Mexico, because this is selamelane on top of pyrolusite, okay? Both manganese oxides. So we have the selamelane and the pyrolusite having banding, as you can see it. This size specimen at 2 by 1.5 inches, like I said, is probably about the same overall footage. The condition is excellent, is simply excellent. Now, I'm going to show you a little tool that for this specimen and so many others that you may have will work perfect. Let's say there's a piece of lint or a piece of dust that drops in the middle of that. How do you get it off? Well, you certainly don't want to use your fingers, and you really don't want to be getting tweezers in there. It would be so easy to still damage it. This is what I suggest. This is just one of those teeth cleaning devices, right, that you put to floss with. Well, it works great. It will absolutely pick up anything off the surface needed without affecting any of the other crystals. Look at that. You see that? Wasn't that neat? How easy that works? So I just wanted to show that as one of my little Shawn's tip for the day. I will miss this specimen dearly, but it's time for someone else to enjoy it. I already looked. There is nothing available that I could find in the internet world to come close to this. Most selamelane is botryoidal, like goethite. Now, what is selamelane? It's a hardness of 5 to 6. It means the Greek silos for smooth or bald, and melis for the color black. This most likely is from the Tower Mine in New Mexico, and it is from the very well-known Luis Lopez mining district in Socorro County. And most selamelane is, not to get you confused, but in case you see this, just make sure you realize the difference. Most is actually romanokite, which is a barium manganese. It's quite a complicated formula because there is a valence of manganese for Mn4+, that is extremely magnetic. And I was just seeing, this is my weak magnet. I didn't want to use it on a strong one. So I was just testing. I could probably test on that little piece I pulled off to see what kind of magnetic susceptibility there was to that. But if you find out that it is strongly magnetic, that is and can be expected. So most of it are manganese oxides, but they kind of use it as a broad reach, because a lot of selamelane can contain barium and Mn2+ as well. The difference between selamelane and the pyrolusite it's sitting on is a different crystal system. So we know that through the different types of rutile. You have the other, they give them different names, the different polymorphs, just like kyanite and andalusite, same chemical formula, but different crystal systems. So they're basically polymorphs of each other. This is a rare, rare piece. And I guess I'm ready to part with it. If you're lucky enough to get this piece and want to let me know where it went to, this would be one that it'd be nice to know the home it went to, because this was back in the day when my mom and I would go to the rock shop in Sarasota, Florida together, and I also worked there, and has many, 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 many decades of memories for me. Price on this does not reflect probably the true value. I couldn't find the true value. There was nothing else even available. I'm making it only $118. Only $118. Take advantage of it. You will not regret it. It is a exceptional, exceptional addition to anyone's collection. What a find for me to part with and for some lucky person to take over. And I'm going to safely tuck it away in its perky box. Now, let me show you. I have another jewel here. This is 1106-523. 1106-523. Now, this, yes, you may have seen some of these other items before like this, but you have not seen a specimen like this. It is from my own collection. It's triplite, folks, but it's triplite on a level of a different quality. And when they are this nice, yeah, the price makes a difference, because you can get a lot of other pieces, for a lot less different kinds of money, but you don't quite get what I'm going to show you in this, and that is the color. The color. These were all found in one small pocket in 2015. I was looking at my notes. I got these. I got that entire lot, that entire batch in 2000, and it would have been very early in 2018. So by the time it came out of the mountains and made it to me, it hadn't been that long since this was discovered. And to have what I have of what had been available, and to be able to offer a piece like this, let me show you. Dave, work your magic. Let me show you, because color is everything with this material. And of course, clarity. Look at, for one, being in the matrix adds a wonderful display factor. Look at that. I have no idea if after past the surface, if there could be just a incredible, nice quality, facetable stone in there. Look at the orange and the pinks, and look at how this triplite, it'll go all the way through the stone, all the way through. So if you actually ground away the matrix, the core of the entire thing, you would have a large piece of very gemmy triplite. But I think the rarity of it is the fact that this is in matrix. And look at this. I didn't even cover this area because I couldn't get, look at that. Look at that light to it. Wow, look at all that. Thank you, sir. There is a lot of triplite to be found in this specimen. Triplite never forms good crystals. It just doesn't. And the ones that you see were all from one little seam where the crystals had to grow in a flattened formation. And that was it. There's just not that many choices of triplite from around the world. Triplite it is a manganese phosphate with fluorine. So it's kind of an unusual chemical makeup, has an unusual chemistry to it as well. This piece is only $48. Only $48. It could bring a lot more, or it could bring a whole lot more, just depending on what's inside of it. But again, it's always a tough decision to make on whether you just leave it like it is or whether you take a chance on going in it and cutting something magnificent out of it. You just never know what you're gonna get. Let's look at 106-4722. 106-4722, and look at this. Look at this. Let me take that. Now this is terminated quartz in a whole different fashion. Look at that. Look at that green. Look at the quartz. And this is everything from a beautiful paperweight to something that you could cut slices this way across, so you get the bands, the crystals and the quartz through it together. You can see almost all of these are green. Look at how large this is, and no doubt has bicolor aspects to it as well. Yeah, look at that. And when you start looking at this, it's really amazing, because so much terminated quartz is shoral, is the black crystals. Wow. Wow. Look at how big some of these are. And look at, just tucked away in there. What a fascinating piece. Thank you, sir. This is would make a great gift, a great piece on the coffee table, or just one to enjoy, especially when I tell you that the price on this one, I'm doing it for a giveaway opportunity, and that is indeed because how would you like that for only $38? $38. That's kind of going to be my litmus test to see just $38. The look, for the look, that has the look for so little amount of money. Wow. Item number 1106-123. Now, in rummaging around, let me show you something kind of cool I found. Nothing too fancy, but a really neat piece all by itself. When I looked at this, it looked like there was quartz. Like there was quartz. We know this is celestite. And as we come in closer on it, you can see here's a big celestite crystal. Celestite is a strontium sulfate, but these, look at, as clear as they are, look at that. And I was looking at the crystal system, so as soon as I looked at the crystal system, I knew it was not quartz. It didn't have 6 sides to it. Boy, there's some little facet grade crystals right there. If you wanted to facet a small one, you could just kind of detach that one right there and cut a celestite right there from it. Yeah, a really neat specimen. If you do not have celestite, This is a great way to add it to your collection. Look at that. For guess what? Only $15. Only $15. That's a jewel. Now, what we have next is item 1106823. And this piece, this, I took one before. You might be able to recognize it just kind of from the colors, and I took slices off of it. Well, this isn't that one, but I know how neat it was when I sliced it up. Okay, there's this side to it, but then there's a whole nother side to it. And as we come in and look at this closer, you, of course, the fluorite down here, that's going to be fluorescent. You have pyrite, some pyrite crystals tucked away here. You have, as we look at this, maybe a little tricky to spot, let me turn it on its side, but you have innumerable little gemmy calcite crystals all across here. And how do I know? But there's some more pyrite. I took it into the closet with a black light and orange, wonderful orange, beautiful fluorescent orange. And then this side, I thought it was barite. It wasn't. All of this, calcite crystals. Now, there may be some barites, because barites are found with it. So if they look just like a calcite and don't fluoresce, most likely it could be some barites tucked away in there. But again, turn it at a different angle so you can see the depth and you can see just how crystalline it is. This is a specimen I would call one for the fluorescent cabinet, because you have all of this fluorescent calcite, and then you of course have the fluorescent fluorite. Oh, look at the pyrite across the top there too. So it is a bonus specimen. I do like, though, the way this naturally displays. See the angle? Look at that. Like that. So price on this guy, only $38. Only $38 on it. So a gem for that. Now let's see. I see I have a jewel here that I am going to, what do we have here? It is item 1085-822. 1085-822. And I thought for certain that this collection would have been scooped up long ago. I didn't know it's still available. Let me show you. We have the cat. This should have been a year of the, and that's what it looks like. Like it's one of the year of the cat, the year of the oxen, is it? Yeah, there's, let me see, yeah, let me check that number for you. Let me look at it. 1085-822. Look at these natural color carnelian carvings. an incredible ready-to-go collection. And I am going to offer all 4 of these for only $48. Only $12 each on average. Only $48. Wonderful polish. And remember, carnelian, most commonly you'll find it heat treated to create that darker color. I've heat treated a lot of carnelian. This, as you can see, all natural coloring. And look at that, and wonderfully, wonderfully polished and finished, just the way they're supposed to be. Now, let me show you with the few minutes we have here, March special. If we talk about March, what's the first thing that should come to mind? Well, maybe an aquamarine. Let's see. Let's look at 1056722. Namibian aquamarine, and again, natural color, just like that carnelian. So look at how pretty the colors all are. So I'm going to set that right there for the moment. Remove these, and let's look at this. Against the white background, you can see the color perfectly. Look at how the clarity up there. Wonderful natural etching. And then you have a little shoral crystal, a black tourmaline crystal down there. So, as a March birthstone special, this crystal, I am discounting it a huge amount and making it only, let's have some fun with that. Let's make that one, you're not going to believe it, $28. $28. 1057022. Yep. Yep. And as you can see, look at how beautiful the hexagonal shape is to beryl. Oftentimes, I say often, it occurs, but you have to hunt for them. There can be anhydrous. What a find. Okay, next item is going to be 1057022. And this is going to be another March special. We'll put it next to that one for the moment so you can compare the two. Look at this, another aqua crystal. Another aqua crystal, a little bit difference in blue. You see how this one has a little bit more green? Well, when you heat treat aqua, it drives off the green and leaves you with all the blue that so many people think that they want. I love that little additional crystal coming off of the side of that. You have natural etching in this, which is where it ends up dissolving away some of the crystal, oftentimes growing back or something else growing it in the middle. Don't forget to look for any kind of little bubble anhydrous because they can be in there. How about this one? I have another really sweet, fun price. $14. $14. And then I'll have only one more aqua crystal at a special price for you. And that is item 1056922. 1056922. And let's look at this one. Nice larger one. And I love the natural surface that you can see on there. is really a beautiful crystal. Look at all these other additional crystalline growths. And then when you look at it like that, you think, oh, well, it's broken. No, 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 no. When you look at these and start understanding crystals, you can look at the crystallography of the way it formed on the side and see that there's no break whatsoever, and then understand it a little better as you look at more and more, and tilt your head a little bit, and then you can kind of understand that not every area that looks like a break or damage is what you're seeing. Look at that, the clarity in the top of that. Really nice. Again, you have some natural etching. This piece is a nice long aqua specimen, and I have it now on a super sale. Super sale, and a super sale meaning I am going to part with that one and make it only $24. And there is no rhyme or reason. I could not replace that. Like, yeah, I'm going to go out to a show and say, I'll take that aqua crystal for $24. Not going to happen. Not a chance. These are worth well beyond that in the market. But again, I got these many, many years ago, and you can't, the prices are only what they are because I can make them that way. Now, one more item, because Raven said it was springtime and she thought that this would be a good spring item. So let me, well, let's see, hold on if I have the right item number on this. Wow, that's an oldie but goodie. You know what? I'm going to bring that back and make it easier on Asif, because that has old information on it, and we'll just do something a little different on that one. We only have a moment left with you, so let me show you item number 1045822, and this is a wonderful silver ring, and this is from serpentine and stick-tight. Stick-tight. Look at this. Now, this is from a very unusual place you don't hear much about, Tasmania, which is in Australia, the island south of Australia, belonging to Australia. And it was named after Robert Stick. He was the general manager of a mining and rail company. The stick-tight is an incredible color purple. And you have also, as we look at this a little closer, you have chromite in this. So you have iron and chromium. There is lots going on, and I love the serpentine. I love the serpentine in this. Look at the blend of the two colors together. And this was one we were looking at. You can see all kinds of different little animals in it. Oh yeah, turning it that way. There's the tail, nose. Anyway, here, I am going to see just how many of you want something super duper unique for a ring, and what a great spring color combination. It does look like flowers blooming against the green. Let's make it only $38 on that. $38. I'll say it's a show special or something to get away with such a ridiculous price offering. And the last item of the show coming up, yeah, this one, which I was shocked that it didn't sell the first time around, but that just means you're going to get it at a little better opportunity. Many of you at the time didn't see some of these shows, I think. This is item number 1090-322. 1090-322. Look at the quality. and carving of this wonderful, wonderful lapis. And you have, it's double-sided, 14 karat gold. Look at that. And of course you can look up the meaning of, because it's all intentional. All the carving of anything is intentional for, it looks like apples. That'll have an intentional meaning. Look at the nice bail and the way they have capped that off. Nice double-sided carving. 14 karat gold. Price opportunity on this, again, I am going to make it to where it should be hard for you to say no, but why not? Here we go, ready, set, last item of the show. Let me just double, triple check to see. One more item after this. So make this $48, only $48. Then this is the next item, is the last item of the show. 109.50.23. 109.50.23. And let's end it on an item for the birthstone for next month. Diamond, look at this. Here's a parcel of diamonds. It is a wonderful, wonderful mix of sizes, 1.9 to 2.4 millimeter, 52 points, so just over half a carat of diamonds. And I am discounting this. Can we go in as close as we can there for Dave for just a moment, since I'm not going to open it up? All right, look at these. So they have, you see a little bit of difference in color, but that's good. Not all diamonds are the same color. You might need it to match. Or if you're just using one for an accent stone or something, no one would ever know the difference. These four, I think, came out of the same item, so they're nicely matched. You can see how white they are compared to the others. This parcel, and I can't believe I'm doing 52 points for this amount of money, but I'm doing it anyway. It was a value at $98. Let's do this and make this, why not, $58. $58, that does not reflect the real value of the diamonds in the market, no matter which way you look at it. Doesn't reflect it. It just reflects the fact that I'm passing on estate values on to all of you. All right? I'll be right back with the trivia. Okay, so now when it comes to trivia, it's during the show, it's encouraged and helpful if you take notes, and it doesn't really have anything to do with trivia, more so for your own personal knowledge, because I remember well in parochial school, learning phonics. And I don't even know if they teach that anymore. I think it might be called something else, but we called it phonics. Just like they don't teach cursive writing, which, I was just like blown away when I found that out. Now, that decision was probably made up after they saw me write cursive. They thought, wow, if this is the best we could do with this guy, and this is it, no point in even teaching it. I can just see it. Truth of the matter is, for those of you who hadn't heard, my 8th grade term paper, which parochial, for the school I went to, 8th grade was, you moved on to 9th grade after that. It was a separate school, so it went up to 8th grade. And so to get out of 8th grade, you actually had to write a term paper. And that's what it was called then, a term paper. And so when it came in time for the teacher to grade my paper, for one thing, I did the topic, and if I search hard enough, maybe I would actually find it. It would be an incredible lost document if I could. But my topic to get out of 8th grade at 13 years old was on opal. My rabbit was named Opal because it had a mottled color fur. And yes, so, I've always told you that, I've always loved opal because there's no two stones that ever look alike. My mom's birthstone is opal, my son's birthstone is opal, and, I've been down on the opal mines in Lightning Ridge. I have loved opal my entire life. Still, my number one gem and mineral overall. No hands down. So I did it on opal to get out of 8th grade. My cursive was so horrendous that the nuns, and in particular the one I really like, she said, listen, well, prior to that, she said, we understand and know that you're left-handed. You're going to be the only one allowed to print your term paper. So I was allowed, now I can write cursive, I was taught cursive, let's just put it that way, my printing. So when it came time for her to grade me, the kids went out to play, she said, sorry, Shawn, I'm going to need you to read your term paper to me. So just her and I sat, and I had to read it because my printing was still not legible. So just a funny side anecdote there because of not only the topic I did it on, but the fact that even my printing was illegible. Now, left-handed, a lot of people don't realize this, but one last little note on that, just so you can forgive left-handers in the future. We always wind up with ink on the bottom of our hand there because it didn't matter, especially back then, how fast that ink dried. When a left-hander, we have to push our letters. So when we're writing, we're pushing them, right? And so anything that you write with it, your hand passes over only moments after what you wrote. So we actually at one point had to use ink cartridge pens. For any of you who remember those, well, I know many of you remember them, but certainly kids won't have any idea. Those are what pocket protectors were made for. But the thing between right and left, people don't realize that a left-handed person pushes the letters. A right-hander pulls the letters, pulls them across. So, we all know if you have a wheelbarrow and, or you have something to push it versus pulling it, to pull it is always easier than pushing it. I think that holds true with writing as well. So anyway, end of the story was I got an A++ on that term paper. I couldn't believe it. It was great. It was great. Yeah. So content was wonderful. Writing was pathetic. Now, that said, it was a great life lesson there. And to hear these kids now not even being taught cursive, phonics is, I don't know what's being taught there. So, go figure. I'm just glad I don't have to go to school nowadays or be like Asif with younger children where he has to kind of be, oh, here, Daddy, can you help me with this problem? And, everything from math to it's like, huh? I don't remember that or know that. It's not the school your parents went to. So, with phonics, there was a lot that would help kids these days being able to figure out so many things that they don't know now because of the smartphone has made dumb kids. And, well, that's what I have to say about that. Now, with the learning and doing the trivia questions, it was always best with phonics. They told us to see it, write it, speak it, and use it in a sentence. And that, I can truthfully tell you, really does help you to retain knowledge. So therefore, if you're taking notes on something, the simple act of writing what the information that you are tells you and helps you with the spelling and helps you remember what the information is you're trying to record. Multiples, greater retention by doing that. So, trivia. To answer, you can write notes. That would be a great way to learn the items better. Just no fast forwarding or rewinding to go back to whatever it was that we might have been talking about. But I highly encourage you to do note taking. And also, comments are encouraged. You do not have to participate in the trivia contest in no way, shape, or form. You can comment about anything that you'd like. The show, some of you like, some of you don't like. Me, content, whatever, suggestions and whatnot. And that's fine, no problem, no problem. You do not have to participate in the trivia, but those that do, well, obviously, I think that was a neat item that that was won today, and you never know what I may come up with. Okay, ready, set. Here are your two trivia questions. The first of the two is, what is the main mineralogical difference that was discussed between pyrolusite and salamalane? Salamalane. Now, let me get back to the word salamalane for just a moment too. If you wondered about the pronunciation and heard it pronounced silomalane or any number of other ways, that's all acceptable. That was one I actually had always pronounced salamalane, but I just wanted to fact check my own pronunciation of it. And I got 3 different answers. I did. There was 3 different offerings, and each, you know, whether it was Webster's pronunciation or whoever they were, each one was completely different than the other. Salamalane being probably the one that I would overall choose, but the one right after that was salomalane, and then the third was something else. So it's completely fine if you use any version thereof. Someone that knows salamalane will know what you're talking about. All right, so the question again was, what is the main mineralogical difference discussed between pyrolusite and salamalane? Question number 2, what mineral is made up from the elements vanadium, silicon, and calcite? What mineral is made up from the elements of vanadium, silicon, and calcite? So, a couple of easy ones. Good luck to all of you. I've got a fun mess to clean up, and that's just the thing. There is never such thing as a mess. All it is getting to touch and look at beautiful pieces from Mother Nature again, to put them back in man-made plastic bags so that I can get the beautiful pieces out again in one piece to do it all over again. Hopefully, you will make off with a lot of these opportunities for yourself in the meantime, because I need the support and I appreciate all of your help in doing that, and especially over all these years. So keep enjoying your spring, and happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you. I guess I will miss that by the time I'm back, but yeah, with a name like mine, you know, there's got to be a little bit of the wee bit of the Irish in me. I can do a Southern country boy much better than I can do my Irish, so we'll stay away from that. God bless all of you. Have a fantastic week, and I can't wait to see you again on Monday. Cheers.